Hey guys, this is Uri from What Culture Comics, and I'm here to talk to you about quitting. We're always told to never give up, but sometimes things can just really take its toll. And I'm here to tell you not to be disheartened if you ever feel that way. It happens to the best of us. And I literally mean the best of us, even the Man of Steel himself. Take a look at the 10 times Superman just quit. All right, let's go. Number 10, Superman just says to hell with it when dealing out property damage. Multiple. For someone who's supposed to be a defender of the little guy, Superman is incredibly quick to ignore the collateral damage he's causing. Way back in 1939, Superman concludes that bad neighborhoods are the root of all evil and proceeds to destroy dozens of low-income homes in the slums of Metropolis. Apparently forgetting he's a hero, he fights the National Guard, causing more damage. Later that year, Superman has the same attitude towards cars after a friend of Clark's is struck by a speeding car. Clark goes on a rampage, unlawfully destroying private vehicles and a car factory that makes low-cost autos. Again, forgetting he's a hero, he threatens the mayor until he agrees to stricter traffic laws. The DCAU isn't immune from Superman's hubris. In Clash, Superman is manipulated by Lex Luthor into battling Captain Marvel, destroying low-income housing built by LexCorp, playing into Lex's plan to discredit Superman. In Destroyer, Superman and Darkseid destroy several skyscrapers during their fight. Then there's the legendary loss of life and property in Man of Steel, when Superman, apparently just giving up on protecting the public, destroys multiple blocks of Metropolis, setting in motion the events of the DCEU. Call that a mixed blessing, even though I'm one of the few that actually likes Justice League. Number 9, Superman kills Lex Luthor and creates the Justice Lords, DCAU Justice League, A Better World. Justice League never held back when it came to dark adult stories. The 2-part episode, A Better World, shows us a parallel universe where Lex Luthor is president, still ruthless and intelligent as ever. In the course of trying to leverage his position into dominion over the entire world, Lex kills the Flash and pushes Earth to the brink of all-out war. Before Luthor can finish his plan, Superman confronts him in the Oval Office. Lex proceeds to taunt him, reminding him that they have done this dance before, and that the only way for Superman to ever truly end their rivalry is to kill him, which Lex feels he will never do. Well, oops. This time, Lex gets what he asks for. Superman kills his greatest rival with his heat vision, leaving the life of a hero and protector behind forever, and taking his own first step to world domination. Superman becomes a dictator, pulling his closest allies in around him to create a dark version of the Justice League called the Justice Lords. They neutralize almost every supervillain of their world, achieving a peace at the cost of process of law and personal freedoms. It's a dark turn for the world's biggest Boy Scout, and him being somewhat of a dictator isn't the only one on this list. Number 8, Clark inadvertently becomes a deadbeat dad after leaving Earth. Superman Returns. 2006's Superman Returns was meant to be a big screen return to form for the last son of Krypton. It offered an intriguing story, but certainly was not the massive hit the studio expected. In the film, Superman simply left Earth one day after he found some remains of Krypton are still floating around in space, even though we saw the planet get blown to atoms in Superman. Not finding any surviving Kryptonians, Superman returns to Earth after 5 years. In his absence, his ex Lois Lane has become a Pulitzer-winning journalist, married to a rich newspaper heir, and is mum to a 5-year-old Jason. Lois claims that Jason is the son of her husband, but events in the film prove otherwise. Jason is part Kryptonian. And at the end of the film, Clark quietly visits Jason and assures him he will never be alone. But it leaves some questions lingering. If Clark and Lois were in a relationship, why did he take off with no explanation? How come he never checked in on Earth? Did Clark know she was pregnant and left to avoid being a dad? These are the questions that unfortunately make Superman come off as kind of a dick at the end of all of this. Number 7, that time Clark went walkabout and decided to stop being Superman. Superman comic. In 2010, Superman returned from a year away on the planet of New Krypton. Upon returning to Earth, he finds that he no longer belongs here either. The public turned on him for being away, feeling that he no longer understands the people he once swore to protect. Superman agrees and makes a drastic decision. For the next year, he will stop involving himself in cosmic conflicts and will walk across the United States, helping everyday people with their everyday problems. And that's exactly what he does, helping with things like domestic violence and drug dealing. After a year of finding himself and leaving the world's safety at the hands of others, Lois persuades him that he is still needed, and he returns to being Superman in a rather flat ending. The comic was not well received. The tone of the writing is dismissive of any readers who don't get it and would question why the hell Superman would do this when he could be ending famines or stopping wars. My opinion, sometimes it's good to just connect with the people. Number 6, Clark gets dumped by Lois, moves in with Wonder Woman, and ends up homeless. JLA, Act of God. Now this entry is just depressing. In this Elseworld story, a cosmic event called Blacklight removes the superpowers of every hero on Earth. Many heroes no longer able to figure out who they are and their purpose in life end up sinking into black pits of despair. Superman is no different. After permanently becoming Clark Kent, Lois leaves, no longer having any attraction to him. Seems a bit shallow if you ask me, but Clark is no better in this breakup. Obviously not one to mourn for long, he immediately begins a relationship with the depowered Wonder Woman. While Diana believes her faith in the Amazonian gods will bring her back her powers, Clark is under no such illusion and sees no future for himself either with Diana or as a hero. In despair, he leaves, winding up homeless on the streets of Metropolis. While he and Diana do make up and even have what appears to be a superpowered child together, this story certainly doesn't show Clark in the best light. As we said, depressing. Number 5. Superman loses Lois, then his mind, before becoming a dictator. Injustice games and comics. This is where it gets very dark very fast, so just hold on for a second. The Injustice series commences with the aftermath of Joker poisoning Superman and convincing him that he was fighting Doomsday. He pulls Doomsday high above Earth intended to kill him. Once in orbit, the poison leaves Superman's body and he finds that he has actually killed Lois Lane and their unborn child. On top of that, a dead man switch the Joker implanted into Lois's heart detonates a nuclear bomb in Metropolis. Shortly after, an enraged Superman interrupts Batman's interrogation of the Joker, rams his hand into the Joker's chest and rips out his heart. I told you this one gets dark. With that, Superman decides that the only way to save Earth is to conquer it. Over the next 5 years, he bullies and threatens both friends and enemies to his side, creating the One Earth regime and calling himself High Counselor. Supes turning his back on humanity in such a fashion is terrifying because it demonstrates how one bad day for someone with his powers can change the course of the world. This is another great example as to why comics are so good at reflecting real life questions and conundrums. Number 4. Superman commits suicide out of guilt. Whatever happened to the man of tomorrow? This story is legendary as one possible ending of Superman's career, told by a visionary Alan Moore. It's framed around Lois Lane giving an interview about Superman's disappearance 10 years prior. In the story, Superman squares off with Mr. Mixer-Pickle. Look, in 20 years, I've never gotten this name right, which is the point of his name, so we're just going to call him Mr. Mix. Superman squares off with Mr. Mix. He's not the jokester we've sometimes seen, but a dark, terrifying being of unimaginable power who decides it is time to finish things off with Superman. Mix arranges for several people close to Superman to die. This pushes Superman to use a last-ditch weapon, his Phantom Zone projector. Unfortunately, he zaps Mr. Mix at the same time the imp says his own name backwards to return home, trapping Mix in 2 dimensions and ripping him in half. Superman is racked with guilt that he has taken a life. No longer feeling like a hero, he deliberately exposes himself to gold kryptonite, permanently erasing his powers. Then he wanders into the freezing Antarctic, never to be seen again. Superman no more. Number 3. Superman becomes a weapon of mass destruction for the US government. The Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns is not only a Batman story, but a fantastic one at that, and Superman plays a key role. In Miller's reality, heroes were outlawed a decade before the story, and Batman grudgingly retired. Superman, however, was allowed to continue operating, as long as he turned his back on everything that made him a hero, standing up for the downtrodden, defending the defenseless, and basically being a Boy Scout. He became a secret asset of the US government, being called into action during serious incidents where the United States needs to show the rest of the world who's boss. In Clark's mind, being able to help his country, even though he knows what he's doing is wrong, is still better than Bruce's one-person war on crime, as it at least lets him help the greater good. Of course, Superman being a weapon of mass destruction does lead to the Soviets firing a nuke at America, which Clark intercepts, almost killing him and causing nuclear winter, leading directly to the epic showdown between Bruce and Clark, which this time thankfully doesn't end with the word Martha. Number 2. Kal-El gets tired of humanity and takes up farming. Kingdom Come. Mark Waid and Alex Ross's Kingdom Come is a masterpiece of superhero fiction, laying out dual stories of how a future generation of superpowered individuals use their abilities like toys, and how the icons of the DC universe came to start seeing themselves as gods above the mortals they once swore to protect. In the Kingdom Come storyline, the Joker kills the whole Daily Planet staff, including Lois Lane, and is on his way to trial. Magog, one of the new breed of hero, rises to public favor after finally putting an end to the Joker by killing him with an energy blast to the chest. Magog is tried for murder and, to Superman's disgust, is acquitted. This finally convinces Superman that humanity is no longer worth fighting for, and he retreats to a virtual recreation of the Kansas farmland at the Fortress of Solitude as Kal-El. He spends 10 years in isolation, having no contact with either humanity or his fellow heroes. It is only the threat of the new generation of heroes tearing Earth apart that convinces him to come out of retirement, now bearing a black S shield as a sign of mourning and of the darkness sweeping Earth. Number 1. Clark decides to become human for the love of Lois Lane, Superman 2. There is definitely a running theme here. That is the influences to Superman's decisions by his love for Miss Lane. 1978 Superman film was groundbreaking as both a blockbuster and a superhero movie. For many people, myself included, Christopher Reeves' face is still the first to come to mind when they think Superman. A sequel was immediately greenlit due to the massive success of Superman, but the production for the second film was full of drama. This is unfortunately reflected in the weaker story of the sequel. Throughout Superman 2, Margot Kidder's Lois Lane becomes more and more suspicious of Clark and how he is connected to Superman. During a cozy fireside dinner, Clark admits to Lois that he is indeed Superman and whisks her away to the Fortress of Solitude. Once there, he drops another bombshell on her. He is in love with her and is willing to make himself human in order to be with her, regardless that doing so would deprive the world of Superman. He proceeds to use a machine in the fortress to bathe in red sunlight, and before you know it, he and Lois are shown comfortably snuggling in a Kryptonian bed. Clark eventually regains his powers to defeat the Phantom Zone antagonist of Superman 2, but the speed with which he was willing to resign as Superman was startling. But let's not pretend none of us have made a rash decision based on love.